Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday and happy live stream day. We are so happy to be back with you again today. It's been 2 weeks since our last live stream. We've actually been on vacation since then. Back in the garden, wonderfully excited to share with you today our May garden game plan. And we've got some surprises along the way. So get ready. It's going to be a fun live stream. We are ready to roll and ready to jump right into May gardening.
Yep. Really
So,
good.
Go ahead, Jerry.
As I said, really good to see everyone. It does feel like it's been a long time since we've had a live stream, so it's good to be back. We are also rested up from a little trip, so we are very excited to be back and see you all here again on this live.
That's right. So I just want to say hello to those of you that are here with us today. If you are brand new, please let us know. We would love to welcome you here to the CaliKim family. Just drop a link, or not a link, drop a comment in the chat. Let us know where you're gardening from, and then just chat it up with the other gardeners in there. It's a fantastic community, always so warm and welcoming, and so much to learn from the chat itself, actually. So I want to say welcome to Stephen Presley, one of our longtime viewers. Welcome. So glad that you're here. Yep. Catherine, always great to see you here, as well as Julie, of course, Nisha, our moderator from Colorado. She actually had snow a week ago, about 7 inches of snow. And she mentioned today in the pre-live stream chat that it's already 85 today. So I'm sure all the snow is melted. And hopefully you're out there, Nisha, getting your garden almost ready to plant. I know you got a lot of projects going on there. So welcome to Cheryl from Ocala, Florida. So glad that you're here, Cheryl.
I saw someone too, Kim, from Chula Vista. Here they are, Trish P. So Chula Vista, very interesting. We are going to be in that area soon, so stick around on this live stream because you don't want to miss that announcement. But it's great to have you here. Cheryl from Florida, awesome. We love Florida for a bunch of reasons, but I definitely feel like it's the hardest place to garden. It just seems so hot there. So great to have you, Cheryl.
And Santa Ana Road Wildman, of course, one of our longtime viewers as well from Central Cali. Thank you for telling everyone to hit that like button. Appreciate that. Yep, Julie actually mentioned, sorry, Jerry, that the raised bed behind me here is going gangbusters. It absolutely is. I'm telling you guys, we came back to some fabulous things coming on in the garden. We'll probably be doing a harvest a little short, maybe a little later on today. We've got tons of greens, some strawberries, squash, some tomatoes coming on, passion fruit. I'm looking around here, just looking at all the greens that we have growing on. So hopefully you all are getting ready to harvest some fabulous vegetables in your garden too. Drop in the chat if you've got something that you're harvesting this week or getting ready to harvest. We would love to share in the joy and the bounty with you here virtually on our live stream.
Yeah, and also
Well, Jerry's finding his spot there. I want to let you guys know, we came back to a heat wave. It's 90 degrees here today. So I'm sweating it out here outdoors, but enjoying being outside. I know a lot of you are starting to heat up in your gardens. Clayton from Monterey is here as well. Welcome, Clayton. And he actually lives in the high Sierras of California. He was mentioning that it's actually starting to warm up there in the mountains as well after having snow a couple of weeks ago. So welcome, Clayton. So glad that you're here as well.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if my machine froze up, but Steph, Tennessee Garden, is out there as well. She says hi. Luz from Arizona. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Texas again. It's great to see you all here and get your questions ready and stuff too. If you have any questions about what's going on in your garden, because we're going to be taking those here in just a few moments. So we want to, give you a chance to get your questions in here as well. So it's great to see everybody here. Kim, you're going to have to help me along because I'm having a brain moment here where I'm not too sure what's next.
And Rock is here. Great to see you here, Rock. And Devin, I think we said hello to just about everyone here. So so glad that you're here. We're going to get into the May Garden game plan in just a moment. But before we do, Jerry actually has a surprise announcement for you all. So take it away, Jerry.
Okay. Well, the first one is that some of you may or may not know that we actually launched second channel, and that channel consists of our uncut videos where we take you behind the scenes of how we do our projects in our garden, when we take trips around here in Southern California for a little R&R and get away from the garden and kind of step away from the business. We love filming that and bringing you along with that. So that channel is called CaliKim Uncut because that's what we named those episodes, called Uncut. So we thought, what a perfect name. So we're going to do something really special here just for all of you here that are on this live stream today. Is we are going to launch only to this live stream first, very, very first, a new video from the vault. Now, what we mean by the vault is this video is so old. It's 10 years old. So some people may have seen it, and some people maybe even knew it existed out there on the web. But we pulled all these together. So we are releasing that today. You don't want to miss it because we're just funny 10 years ago.
We look a lot different now.
Yeah, without trying to be. So that's what that's going to be about. We're going to keep all of our garden tutorials together here, CaliKimGardenAtHome.com. And then on the uncut side, we're going to do everything else on the uncut side. So for those of you that are also YouTubers, you may want to consider this. That way you have all of your teaching content on one channel. And then the algorithm is going to know that all of your other content will be on your other channel. So it won't confuse who to send your content to. So that's kind of the story behind it. So you're going to get a link at the very end of this video. And be one of the first to leave a comment too, because we're going to be checking it. That's the big announcement here. Kim, should I make the other one about San Diego as well?
Sure, you might as well. But let me just say one more thing about Uncut. We would love for you to subscribe and follow us over there. We are going to be creating new Uncut videos as we're doing kind of behind the scenes type of things around the garden or traveling, like Jerry mentioned. But I did want to mention the vault video is one that is not on our main channel, has never been on CaliKim Garden and Home. So this is something I'm 95% sure that none of you have ever seen. So the link will be dropped at the end of our live stream, and you want to head over there, subscribe if you haven't already, and watch that video. And of course, leave us a comment. We answer all of our comments, and we'd love to see you over there. So Jerry, take it away about our San Diego info there.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is in the end of June, we are going to take a trip down to San Diego, and we are going to set aside Sunday, June 28th, for a meetup with all of you. Location to be determined. We're still working on that, but what a great time it would be to be down there, to meet you all, hang out a little bit, talk, share some stories, ask some questions, take some pictures, kiss some babies, that kind of a thing. So Kim, can you explain how we're going to do the sign up part?
Yeah, we'll announce more of that later on. We'll drop all the details over on the community page here on our channel. It's the post tab, which is at the top of our main channel banner there, or our main channel page. You click on post. So do make sure you follow along over there, because we drop a lot of our daily or weekly updates there. And we'll explain more about our San Diego meetup as we get closer. But I know we have lots of viewers in San Diego, and so we really are looking forward to meeting a lot of you there.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. I'm going to jump off. Have a great show, and I'll catch up with you later.
Okay. Sounds great. So lots of fun going on today. And thank you so much for those of you that are dropping here in the chat that you've already subscribed to Uncut. And don't think because we're posting some of our uncuts that we already had on our main channel, we're not going to have brand new content there. We definitely will. You don't want to miss it. Okay, let's drop into a May garden game plan here, guys. And in between some tips that I'm going to be sharing, I will be taking some questions from you. So get your questions ready. You can go ahead and be typing them in the chat now, because we want to make sure we set time aside for that as we head into the summer months, so that we can get your questions answered about what's going on in your garden. We have our Clayton for Monterey and the Monterey team here in the chat to answer your pest and disease control issues. So make sure that you're dropping those in the chat, and we'll get to those in just a few minutes. So without further ado, let's jump into the May garden game plan. Now, your summer harvest is coming up soon if you're not harvesting yet, but your summer harvests are not won in the summer. They're actually won or built right now. And, a lot of times we kind of just mistake number one, actually, of what you want to do is don't go into coast mode in May, because you've got your garden planted maybe, or maybe you're just planting it. Maybe you're a little bit tired from all that work and just kind of sit back and wait for the harvest. But that would be a huge mistake. You don't want to do that, because what you want to be doing is keeping an eye on your garden very closely this month. Don't ignore it, because a lot of times now is when the problems kind of quietly sneak into your garden. And if you're not really aware of what's going on, before you know it, they're going to get out of hand and they're going to affect your harvest in a month to 6 weeks. So because your garden looks full now, it's super easy to kind of quit paying attention. But you really do want to be kind of regularly maintaining and checking on your garden, because little problems now, like I mentioned, become big June or July disasters. And gardens don't stay productive automatically. You've got to keep on checking on it and keep things rolling, especially now in the month of May. So a few little quick action items that you want to do to make sure that you're not coasting this month is, what I love to do is what I call just a little 5-minute walk around the garden. I love to do it early in the morning when it's nice and quiet, when it's nice and cool as well. It's so fun to see what's going on in the garden early in the morning. Maybe the birds, some of the insects that are out, the pollinators maybe just starting to come out, the hummingbirds out feeding. And it's just such a peaceful time in the garden. Wander around with a cup of coffee, or if you can't do it in the morning, do it in the cool of the evening. I was out here last night, just kind of walking around, checking on things, since we were gone for a week or so, and kind of watering some things that needed kind of spot watering, just not only for your own enjoyment, but also so you can spot things that you need to take care of before they get out of hand. And this is when I saw all the things that needed to be harvested since we were gone. So you can kind of make a note of that. I didn't harvest everything last night because I wanted to do it all fresh today and maybe film a little video. It's a great time though to harvest all your things that are going on, so that you can actually even plan your meal for the next day or make your lunch for the next day if you're going to work, and to make sure those harvests don't get out of hand. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. A really good thing I love to do in the evenings or in the early mornings is check the undersides of leaves. You can get a flashlight if it's dark out, and keep an eye out for all those pests. We'll talk more about that in just a moment, or a little bit later on the live stream. But this is when you really want to be extra vigilant about not going into coast mode, and checking on it, and doing just your quick 5-minute walk through the garden every day is a really good way to spot problems before they get out of hand. Maybe your plants need trellising. You can trellis them up and support them before they start to flop over while they're still on the small side. You know how hard it is to trellis up a tomato after it gets really big and it's flopping over and you've got a big problem on your hands. Much easier to do it when it's still young. So what I'd like you to drop in the chat right now is, what crops are exploding in your garden right now, if any, or what crops are you getting ready to harvest maybe in the next week or so? What's growing the fastest, and what are you getting ready to harvest soon? So drop that in the chat. And I can see we've already got some questions, so we're going to take some time now to go through those questions and answer them. And also let me know if you're really tempted to go into coast mode this month in May, because I would highly encourage you not to do that, not to let up. Part of your May garden game plan is to really stay vigilant in the garden this month. Okay, we do have some questions over here. Stephen has a question. I told you last week a rat took all my tomatoes and chewed them off about 2 inches off the ground. They're starting to regrow. Do you think I should replace them or try and let these regrow? Okay, Stephen, rats are just the most frustrating problem in the garden, aren't they? They're crazy creatures. We see them run along our back fence like clockwork as soon as it gets dusk every single night. So what I would do is, if your tomatoes are regrowing, that's a really good sign. Tomatoes are very resilient this time of the year, and I've had the same thing happen, not necessarily with rats, but maybe something happened to my plant. I believe one year it got taken over by pests. I cut it off, and it does regrow as long as the weather is nice and warm. So what I would recommend doing actually is letting those regrow, and it's always good to have some backups. So if you can start some more seeds, or grab a few transplants if you want to get some going right away, and pop them in a few containers around your garden. So that way, if something happens to the current plants that you have, you'll have some to put in its place, so that you're well covered for tomatoes. Because I would imagine maybe July or so, you might be starting to harvest, and that you'll be covered and have some great tomatoes to harvest at that time of the summer. And we have Kimberly Lewis here. Kim, it was so great. We actually saw her in Hawaii. It was awesome. And Jerry, I don't know if you could possibly grab the very special gift that Kim made for us, that we were so touched Jerry will hopefully grab that in just a moment, but let me answer Kim's question. I
Okay.
have a Queen of the Night tomato plant on my lanai, and I noticed last night that some of the tomatoes are splitting. What do I do? Okay, Kim, usually tomato splitting is caused by either excessive heat or excessive watering or a little bit of both. So they typically will split when they get too much water inside, and if it gets too hot. But what happens is the tomato kind of just boils and then it outgrows its skin and it splits. So that could be the case with your tomatoes. If it's ripe, of course, go ahead and harvest it. If it's not quite ripe, but it's kind of starting to turn a little bit, you can harvest it and go ahead and let it ripen inside the house. You can put it in a paper bag, will help it ripen a little bit faster. Put a ripe banana in the bag, helps it ripen even faster. Or if it's still totally green, you might want to back off on the watering, leave it on the vine a little bit longer, and wait for it to turn that nice first blush, and then you could get a little harvest going there. I get a little fresh tomato going there as soon as it ripens up. So Jerry, are you ready to show Kim's amazing gift that she worked so hard on? We were so touched.
Yeah, sure am. But let's give a little background on Kim first. Kim used to live near us, actually, here out in Southern California before she started following us and watching our videos, but then moved out to the islands. And we became friends then via, YouTube and that kind of thing. And so we've been seeing her every time we go out there. We visit her or, that kind of thing, and hang out and catch up and look at whatever she's growing. Well, for those of you who may or may not remember that Mac's birthday was last week while we were in Hawaii. And some of you remember that and shot us a text and things like that. But Kim had a surprise for us. And we brought out some garden things for her. She goes, well, I've got a surprise for you. And so what she did was she made something starting almost a year ago, I believe, or half a year ago, and gave it to us. So,
yeah, we were so touched. We could not believe the time and the energy and the effort Kim took to make this beautiful pillow and then turn it over Jerry. For those of you who don't know, this is what Mac wore in every video, a red bandana, almost every video. So it was just so thoughtful of her. Turn it around there. There we go. We were so touched. So Kim, thank you so much for remembering our special garden dog, Mac. And we're actually coming up in about a month or so of the 1 year passing. I believe it's June 22nd. And so this was very special to us. We were so happy to see her. If you are out in Maui, make sure you visit Maui Ocean Center. It's a beautiful place. Kimberly is actually one of the managers there. So you can go and visit and learn all about the gorgeous ocean life there in Maui. So thank you so much, Kim. And hopefully that helps answer your question.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay, another question here from Priscilla's Garden. Welcome, Priscilla. What is the difference between takedown and takeout from Monterey? Which is better for whiteflies and spider mites? So Clayton could perhaps answer the question better about the difference between the two. I think there is one called takedown and one called Takedown O or something like that. So Clayton, if you could address the difference between those two products. I'm not too sure exactly how they're different, but I do know that Takedown is a great pesticide that is organic, number one, which is great for us organic gardeners. And it does kill the sucking insects like the aphids, whiteflies, and spider mites on contact. So it's really a great product to have around in your garden shed as something that will help you this summer avoid those sucking insects on your plants. So whiteflies can be a little bit tricky because they fly around, so they're kind of hard to catch. But I always recommend spraying on the underside of leaves because that's where they tend to kind of lay some of their eggs. The aphids can kind of get down in the cracks of the plants, so you can usually see those pretty well. Spider mites are a lot harder to see, but generally they kind of hang out on the undersides of leaves. So do inspect your plants regularly. Again, that's part of your 5-minute walk through the garden. And watch our video. I believe it's called Why Your Pest Control Isn't Working. And it does explain the difference between the different kinds of pests and how they need to be treated differently in order to control them. So it suggests, I suggest there are some products from Monterey that work for the different types of pests. It's definitely a video you don't want to miss. Okay, here's a great question. Another one about pests. We have lots of pest questions today, as usual. So I'm sure the Monterey team will be busy there in the chat. from Lizzie. How do you kill a locust? It's destroying my peppers and it's super hard to catch and kill, but it's so big, I don't know if a single spray of takedown will kill it. Okay, Lizzie, what I suggest is, because a locust is a chewing insect, is spraying your leaves with garden insect spray. That's a lot different than the takedown. It is a Monterey product as well, another organic product. It has something in it called spinosad. And what that does is it soaks down into the top layers of the leaves there. So that when the locusts come and chew it, they will then ingest the pesticide, and it disrupts their nervous system. So I would definitely suggest using that for locust. And Monterey team, if you have another product there that you could suggest for locusts, because they are very big insects and are difficult to get rid of, I'm sure we would all welcome any information you could share there. Okay, question here from Rock. And I'm so glad there's so many questions today. We definitely want to get in there and help you with any garden issues that you're having. It's a great time to do it. From Rock, I'm in South Louisiana. It's rained for about 4 days, and I'm already seeing early blight on my tomatoes and pepper plants. Any recommendations? Yes, the rain is, I know the weather is crazy all over the place this year. We're having ups, we're having downs, lots of rain, lots of weird weather. When you do see that early blight sneak in, what I recommend, even beforehand, is treat your plants, again, with a wonderful Monterey product, Complete Disease Control. And that is great, actually, to treat your plants when you plant them. Just do a soil drench, and it will congregate. I know there's a more scientific word that Clayton could share with you. It will congregate or settle in around the roots of your plants and help prevent disease. But when you do see disease, you do want to treat it by spraying the leaves. Now with blight, because it's a disease that's called a hard disease, the spots on the leaves, it's not going to erase the spots on the leaves that you do have, but it will help control that disease in future growth. So definitely helpful. I would really recommend hanging on to that product and keeping that in your garden. Okay, let's head back and talk about our next garden game plan here for the month. And that is make sure that you're keeping an eye on your harvest and replanting constantly. We definitely don't want to have those big, huge, massive zucchinis that I know are so easy to miss. Because when your plants produce those, or when the massive fruit keeps on growing on your plants, what happens is it slows down production of your plant, because it sends a signal to the plant that mission is accomplished. I am making seeds now, because those big, huge vegetables will produce very large seeds inside of them, will grow very large seeds inside of them. So the plant says, I'm done. I'm going to stop putting on new fruit. And that way, and then your harvest and your production will slow way down.
Kim, we've got to acknowledge this super chat from, from Trish P. That is awesome. Thank you, Kim and Jerry, for sharing your time and knowledge with us. I have learned so much. That is really awesome. We're really glad to hear that as well. And your kind act here is just, it's really encouraging to us. And maybe tonight we can go get an ice cream cone or something and go big.
Thank you so much, Trish. I appreciate that for that super chat.
Yeah,
it's a great way to show your support, and we really appreciate it. And I think if anybody else wants to, there is a super chat button at the bottom, but you certainly, don't need to. But if it's something that you want to do, of course, we always welcome it. So thanks so much for showing that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I also think when you do a super chat, it stays up there for a while or something like that. It stays on the screen or something as well. So that's kind of cool that you get that too. So.
It does. If you want to bump your question up a little bit higher, it's a great way to do it as well.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm trying to remember where I was. Oh, yes. I was talking about.
We're all a mess now.
That's okay. So do make sure you're out there checking your garden, harvesting. I mean, that is one of the most exciting things about growing vegetables, is grabbing a little harvest basket, getting your vegetables, going inside and cooking your dinner. And you definitely don't want to miss that, because that's our reward, right? We've been working all these months to plant, and here we are, we get to eat from the fruits of our labor. So do keep up on that. If you've got your beans that are staying on your pods too long, they're going to get, not very edible. So do make sure you're harvesting your vegetables when they're young. And if you're not sure of the ideal harvest size, you can always look up the variety that you're growing and, look that up and see what the ideal harvest size is. I always recommend harvesting early, because I just feel like the younger vegetables are a whole lot more tasty. They're not, tough like a big, huge zucchini squash might be a little bit tough and hard to cut into. So definitely get those harvested. And if you've got a lot of greens bolting right now, I know I do because of our warm weather. I've got some mustard greens back here, those yellow flowers that are bolting. You want to pull those out. Leave some for the flowers. Like the bees really like the flowers of the bolting greens and bolting herbs. Leave some for the bees because of course you want to encourage the bees to come along. But I know this other garden bed over here next to me, where is that? I don't know if you guys can see it. It has a whole bunch bolting. So I need to pull that whole entire bed out because really it's wasted space, wasted soil. And I need to get in there and plant some vegetables that will do better in the warmer temperatures. For greens, I love the fresh lettuce, but it just doesn't handle the summer heat. So make sure that this month you are focusing on replanting a second wave of vegetables. If you missed our May, what to plant in May video, you've got to go back and watch that because I talk about using the heat in your favor and planting heat tolerant greens like kale, like chard, some of the mustard greens. I have a really good heat tolerant mustard green in my heat tolerant green seed collection. But then also planting a second wave of like the power producers, the squash, the beans, the melons, and the small dwarf tomatoes. Get those going now, because come June, come July, a lot of your spring crops are going to be kind of wearing out a little bit. They might get pests or diseases, and you want to have that fresh new wave going. So now is the month, not only not to be in coast mode, but to start seeds for brand new vegetables so you can keep your harvest going all throughout the summer months. And another surprise here for our live stream viewers only. We're dropping this today for you guys. A lot of you know we just created a brand new summer harvest seed bundle. Put this together so you have vegetables that I hand curated that will grow really well, quick harvest in the summer months. So this is a brand new bundle, only been out a few weeks. We're dropping a discount code today in our live stream for 50% off for all of our seed collections. The code is Summer Harvest. So go over to our website, grab these for today only with the code so you can get your harvest, you can get your seeds replanted and keep harvesting all summer long. So that's what we're all about here, is helping you have the most productive garden ever and giving you the resources to do just that. One of my favorite things to start from seed right now, and I started some from seed right before I left, is determinate tomatoes. There's smaller varieties of tomatoes, the Tiny Tim, got a golden nugget back here that grows to about 3 to 4 feet tall. So you can grow them in containers, and then they harvest fairly quickly, so you can harvest them into the fall. So definitely a good time to get those rolling. Don't coast. Harvest and replant are definitely something you want to keep in the top of your mind for your May garden game plan. And I like to kind of do what's called a kind of 48-hour rule. So if I pull something out, I like to try and replant it in that same spot within 48 hours. A little action item for you. And the reason why I do that, because if I let it go too long, I forget about it. And before I know, it's like 2 to 3 weeks and I've got growing time that's wasted. Okay, Kimberly Lewis, thank you so much. Planting the summer harvest seed bundle. We dropped one off to her while we were there when she gets home from her vacation. So glad to hear that, Kimberly. Thank you so much for growing along with us. It'll be kind of fun to compare notes, how it grows in Hawaii versus how it grows here in California. Okay, time again for your questions. So drop your questions in the chat and Jerry will set them aside for me so I can see them easily while we're going throughout our live stream here. And let's see here. We've got a question from Luz. How are you doing today, Luz? Great to see you here as always. How long does it take for strawberry runners to be established before I can cut them from the mother plant? That's a great question. Strawberries, if you're not aware, like to send out runners. And a lot of times they will grow little root tips on the runners just from the moisture that they're getting in the air. You can stick those in the soil and root them for free strawberry plants. And generally, Luz, it might take a couple of weeks for that runner to get established in the ground. A little test you can do, and we've got, look up our strawberry videos, like how to root runners, lots of info in those, and I demonstrate this in those videos. But what you can do is kind of just give a light little tug on the runner itself. where it's, attached, where it's growing in the soil. If you feel a little bit of resistance, that means that the roots are getting in there, getting established in the soil, and then you can clip it from your mother plant. But it's a great way to get a lot of free plants. I think all the plants I have, almost all over my garden, have come from strawberry runners, and they just went crazy last year, and I rooted a whole bunch, but lots of good videos on how to do that. Okay, let's see here. Here is a question from Santa Ana Road Wildman. Can you bring seeds into Hawaii? I know they are strict. I actually packed them in my checked bags because I did make the mistake one year of bringing them in my carry-on. And then I had to declare them on my form, and it was just kind of a pain. But in my checked bag, it wasn't a problem. And we dropped them off to Kim while we were there. So yes, they are very strict about that. Okay, here's a question here from Keith. How's it going, Keith? Good to see you here. Have you ever grown banana squash, and do you have any advice on how to grow it? No, I have not grown banana squash, Keith. I'm thinking, is that a summer squash? Similar to zucchini, it kind of sounds like it might be. So you could pretty much grow it just like you do a zucchini plant. It probably grows super easy, just like a zucchini plant does. And I know zucchini can get quite large. So if you're growing it in containers, which I know you do often, Keith, you might want to grow it at least in a 10-gallon container. So it has plenty of space to spread out. Then, of course, once it's ready to harvest, make sure you check under the leaves, because the squash do like to hide under the leaves. Okay, let's go back here and talk about our next May garden game plan. And I'm going to be going back for questions and answers here in a little bit. But next garden game plan for the month of May is water and mulch before the heat hits. Now, for us here in Southern California, the heat is already hitting 90 degrees today. We're going to be cooling down a little bit. But for most people, June and July is when it really starts to go gangbusters as far as the heat waves. Can be very unpredictable. So you do want to make sure that you have your watering, your mulching in place. So you're not out there rushing around trying to water and mulch, or prepare your drip irrigation or install your drip irrigation when the heat hits. So actually what I did this year, I don't have a lot of straw mulch on my garden, which you can definitely do. I would recommend getting what's called a clean straw mulch. You can grab those straw bales, but a lot of times, because the straw is so thick in those straw bales, it gets matted down on top of your plants, and then the water has a hard time getting through. I like to grab the clean straw on Amazon. I don't think I have a link right now in the video description, but I'll put one in there after the live stream ends. It's very inexpensive. It's usually packed very compactly in the bag, so a little bit really goes a long way. But I did actually mulch this year with Bumper Crop has a really great mulch that has manure in it, and it's called, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Garden Gold, I believe it's called. You can find it over on the Master Nursery or the Bumper Crop website. And hopefully you can find it in your local garden centers. But it looks more like soil, but it's fir bark and some chunks of wood and fir bark and things like that really makes a nice mulch as well as a fertilizer. So I've been using that. But the watering, I think, is probably one of the biggest things. If you're hand watering, you want to make sure that your soil is nice and moist before that heat wave hits. If you've installed drip irrigation, what you want to do now, and we love the Mr. Landscaper drip system, of course, is make sure that you kind of have an idea of the moisture content of your soil here where the temperatures are mild, and then bump up the frequency that you're watering when the heat waves hits. The soil conditioner is definitely a great one as well. And there's one that's actually by Master's Nursery. I think it's called Master's Nursery Garden Gold or something like that. I can't believe I can't remember the name. It's sitting right up there at the top of the garden hill. But if you look on the Master Nursery website, you will find it. But you want to kind of experiment with your drip irrigation. If you have a day like today where it's 90, typically I'll run my drip every 2 days when the weather's in the 70s. But in the 90s and in the hundreds, it definitely gets watered every day. So my timer makes it easy. I'll just bump the frequency up daily. Even the containers might need twice a day. So definitely something you want to pay attention to in the heat, and kind of get your game plan on with that before the heat ramps up. Okay, so sometimes even what you need to do during hot spells is check your containers even twice a day. And one thing I love about the Mr. Landscaper drip irrigation system is they have a special kit, especially for potted plants, that puts out a lot more water than the drip emitters like you've seen here in my raised bed. We've got videos on how to install it, but my containers literally, I only run for like 2 minutes and it's plenty of water for them. When it gets up to 100 degrees, I can adjust it to run 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the middle of the day if I want to, and then 2 minutes in the evening. So check out all of our videos on drip irrigation. And I would highly recommend doing that so your watering stays consistent during the summertime. And mulch will go a long, long way towards protecting your roots from that hot summer sun. Okay, so let me see here. Yes, time for Q's and A's here. So if you have any questions about pests, diseases, maybe a vegetable that you'd like to grow or haven't grown yet, or anything about watering, drip irrigation, ask away. Now's your chance, okay? So let me head over here to the question section that Jerry is so great to set aside here for me. And lots of questions here from Dr. Lizzie. Will spraying disease control on the soil hurt the good bacteria and growth in the soil? No, it absolutely will not. It actually helps colonize, that's the word I was looking for earlier, colonize the good bacteria around the roots of your plants. And it will not hurt the growth in your soil at all. It's an organic product. And Clayton or the Monterey team could explain a little bit more about that in the chat here, if you don't mind. But it's definitely a great thing to use at the beginning of the season. And then to spray on the leaves if you have any issues like powdery mildew or blight as you see it. And then you can do a root drench again a couple of months later, mid-season long. Okay, here's a great question from Keith. How many times a day and a week do I need to feed my vegetables? Okay, Keith, you definitely do not want to be feeding or fertilizing your vegetables on a daily basis. That would be overfeeding them and it could cause a lot of issues with your plants. For containers, what I generally do is try and feed mine about a week to 10 days. It's kind of the ideal schedule for feeding. And I always use the Monterey Fish and Grow on that because it's got everything your plants need throughout the season. Lots of videos on that, Keith, that you can go and check out. For raised beds like my one right here, usually every 2 to 3 weeks is good for that. But you do want to keep things on a regular feeding system. And there's more information about that actually in my book on raised bed gardening. And I talk a lot about feeding plants in a lot of our YouTube videos. So you can go back and check out, I think our tomato video is one of the recent ones. Why is your tomato wilting? Is a really good one on it talks about a tomato feeding schedule. Okay, here is a great question from Dunk. How you doing, Dunk? Great to have you on here today. Never had much success growing strawberries. Any fail-safe tips? Okay, Dunk, one thing to know about strawberries is that they're not a super, super warm weather vegetable because once it gets to about 80, 85, they stop flowering. So you may want to plant them in your garden if you live in a warm climate in an area where possibly they get some morning sun, afternoon shade. Definitely cover them with shade cloth when the temps get over 85. I think the biggest thing to know about strawberries too is that different varieties produce at different times of the year. So look up the variety that you're growing and you can see what time of the year they produce. Feeding strawberries regularly is also super important to get lots of good production from them. So hopefully you can make those adjustments and you'll have to come back and let us know if that helps and you get more growth and production out of your strawberries. Okay, let's see here. I think we have one more May garden game plan for today, and that is super important in May, and we've already talked about this actually quite a bit in our live stream here, is to stay ahead of pests and any soil issues that might be going on in your garden. It's super easy. I mean, super, super important because the pests literally may not have any now, but I'm warning you, they will start to affect your garden at some point during the growing season, during the summertime. I mean, aphids, you can have a few right now, and they can literally explode into 1,000 all over your plants by Friday because they don't need to mate to multiply. So you've got to stay ahead of the pest game if you want your June and July garden game to really be strong. So like we talked about before, always be checking your garden. Just be wandering through on a daily basis or every couple of days. If you can't make it out there every day, just take a quick check. Look under the leaves. That's the biggest place where pests like to hide. And if you see some, you've got to take care of it right away. We've talked about a couple of products that can really help. Once watch our Why Isn't Your Pest Control Working? And you will find everything that you need to know in that video to take care of any pests that could be coming up. Drop in the chat right now, what pest generally is the biggest problem in your garden, because it can be so discouraging when you've got a beautiful plant growing and you walk out the next morning and you see it all chewed up. So I know it can be super discouraging. I am going to say, for me, the biggest problem I have is probably aphids. It's the most common for a lot of gardeners, but I constantly have to be checking for aphids. I know there was a plant, a pot I kind of isolated up on our deck before we left and sprayed it down. And sure enough, when we got back, a few days ago, checked it and the aphids had come back in. So it's something you do have to keep an eye on. But the takedown will really take care of those soft-bodied sucking insects right away. So let's hear in the chat here is Patricia. Great comment there. Is Monterey takedown is her go-to and always at ready in her garden. So that's great, Patricia. And I think that's half the battle, is being prepared. Because if you're not prepared with some things that really work, you're going to be kind of scrambling a little bit and panicking like, oh, I've got to go get this stuff. And by the time you get it, your plant could be gone. So definitely stay ahead of the game. So Stephen is saying squash bugs are a big issue in his garden. And I believe squash bugs pierce the plant, so they be considered a sucking insect. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that's what happens. I don't have a lot of squash bugs. That would be something you want to use takedown for. Aphids, if talking small, from DeBoz. Deer, if talking big. I know the takedown will work on deer, not on deer, on aphids. For deer, that's a whole nother issue. I think you're going to need to put a fence up for that one. Let's see here. Love Monterey. Love to hear to Patricia that you're liking the takedown. Do we have a discount code for green stock? No, do not have a discount code for green stock. I believe Gary does. So you can go over to the Rustic Garden and get his code. I'm not sure what it is. Keith has issues with little flies, maybe fungus gnats or white flies. That'd be something you'd want to use takedown for. Lots of people having problems with aphids there. So yeah, I know that's a very, very common issue. I know a lot of people have problems with tomato hornworms, with the squash vine borers. So definitely something you want to stay ahead of your pest game. Now, Clayton from Monterey was on with us maybe a month or so ago. I would suggest even going back and watching the replay of that live stream. There was so much great information there. He's very knowledgeable and can definitely, it will definitely fill you in on any issues and what you can do to solve those issues in your garden as far as pests go.
Kim, I wanted to take a minute and point out a special comment to you. I don't know if you would have seen or not, but this is why we do what we do here on this channel. It's why we work with our brand partners. Here is a comment from Miss Kitty. I'm going to put it on the screen now, who won a Mr. Landscaper gardening kit a while back. And this comment is just fantastic. Thank you again for the Mr. Landscaper vegetable garden kit I won a few weeks ago in the drawing, right? I have 6 raised beds with irrigation in only 3 of them until now. Beautiful. I mean, we love hearing that they put into action what they won here, on the channel. Thank you to Mr. Landscaper for making, that possible. And that goes to all of our brand partners who donate prizes for you all. So that is, I just wanted to point that out to you. Liz, Miss Kitty, great job. Nice job.
Wonderful. And what a time saver, because now she has her time back because she's installed drip irrigation, that she can then not only have the peace of mind knowing her plants are watered, but then be enjoying and doing other things in her garden that she might not have time to do, including planting more and harvesting more. So love to hear it. Thank you so much, Miss Kitty, for sharing that with us today.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, so let's see here. And also thank you to Monterey because they've also made a lot of their products available through our giveaways here on our live streams as well. And you always want to stay tuned. You don't want to miss a live stream because often we drop surprise giveaways that we might not announce ahead of time. So it's a great place to be. Before I forget, too, in 2 more Mondays, it's actually Memorial Day. So we will be off on Memorial Day. So our next live stream will be June the 8th. I know it seems like a long ways away. We'll have lots of content in between, and make sure that you're always paying attention to our YouTube here in our main channel, our community post page. Lots of updates and what's going on in the garden, harvests, everything that we need to share with you will be going on there on the post page. And Jerry, could you share real quickly how people will find the post page? And don't leave yet, because in just a moment, we are going to be dropping our link for our new uncut video from the vault, a 10 years ago video. So Jerry, if you want to jump back on and share to folks where they can find the post page, because I know it can be, some people might not know where to find it.
Okay, so what you could do here, and we're talking about the CaliKim Garden and Home post.
Yes.
Correct? Post page. Okay, so what you do is when you go to the CaliKim, hang on, let me switch over to it really quick. Of course, I'm somewhere else. And I'm supposed to be on that channel? No, I'm just kidding. Give me a minute here, Kim.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, now I'm on it. All right. When you land on our main page on CaliKimGardenHome.com, you should see something that says community in the menus going across the top. And
on the YouTube channel, not the website, right?
On the YouTube channel,
yeah.
Correct, of CaliKim. Yeah, sorry about that. And then when you go to community, you will see our post and our current post and so forth and so on. So that should take you right there.
Sounds good. And as we continue on here through our CaliKim Uncut, we'll be starting our Uncut channel. We'll be making some posts over there as well. So do make sure you check that out. Jerry, I'm going to jump over to the Uncut channel for just a second to make sure other video is live, and then we're going to drop the link. Okay.
Okay.
So hold on.
Yeah, that sounds good. Nisha and I have been checking it, and we think it's good. But yeah, you go check it for sure.
Okay, just to verify.
And while Kim is doing that, I will tell you all that, I'm sorry, it doesn't say community, it says posts. So when you go to CaliKim Garden Home on YouTube, you'll see across the top, home, videos, shorts, live, playlists, and then posts. And you click on posts, and you'll see there, you can scroll all the way down. You can see everything that we posted here on this channel as well. Another way that you can do it is you can just click on your YouTube icon, and then you scroll up and down, and eventually you'll see posts that we've made. But you're going through a bunch of other content as well when you do that. So suggest easiest way, go to our main YouTube page, and you'll see in the menus across.
Okay, I think we are ready. What a fabulous live stream today. Before we jump off and say goodbye, Nisha is going to post in the chat here a link to our very first vault video. Okay, so Nisha, if you want to go ahead and post that in the chat, and we would love for you all to head over and check that out.
This is an oldie.
It is an oldie, 10 years old. And Jerry actually shows, Jerry, do you want to explain what you show, or do you want me to do that?
Well, it's one of those BTS type videos where I show how I create shadows, how I create shade and such like that. Honestly, it's been so long, I don't really remember what all I said in it, but my goodness, I'm chuckling just looking at myself. I'm on my way down, Kim. I'll sign off with you.
Sure, no problem. And actually, Jerry shot with an entirely different camera at that time. It was a huge rig. I want to say it weighed maybe 25 pounds. So you'll see that on that video, and our garden looks completely different. I look completely different. We're 10 years older now, actually 11 years. So it'll be kind of interesting to hear what you all think. But do go over, check that out, subscribe to CaliKim Uncut. Make sure you leave us a comment. We will be answering every single one of them, okay? And my hair looks a whole lot different. I'm telling you that right now. The style, I don't know what I was thinking, but the styles were a lot different back then. So it should be fun. So yeah, here's a tribute to our wonderful garden dog, Mac. And keep those questions coming in, either through the comments, through the community post pages over on our YouTube channels. And we'll be back with another live stream on June the 8th. So lots of fun stuff today. And don't forget, today is the only day to get that 50% off with the code Summer Harvest over on our website, just for our live stream viewers. We like to send you guys lots and lots of love and lots of surprises.
And we will be checking the comments too on this video. So I think Kim's old hair was called a beehive style.
Something like that. Similar to that anyway. Like, what was I thinking? Okay, you all, thanks for being here with us today. And we look forward to seeing you.
Aloha.
And thank you, Kimberly. We look forward to seeing you on the next video and the next live stream on June the 8th. Take care, you all. Bye-bye.